For this module in our workshop, we have Ideas That Work Incubator Advisory Board member and industry and outreach representative from Mustang Survival, Lily Colby, to share her wisdom on connecting with industry and trade organizations. Over to you, Lily.
Thanks, Lee. Yes, my wisdom. Well, wisdom, being involved with flotation and paddle sports and nearshore boating for over 30 years of my career. I now work for Mustang Survival, and Mustang Survival is a company that is nearly 60 years old, and we are dedicated to creating flotation and waterproof apparel for mariners, all the way from professional military, Coast Guard, Navy SEALs, sailors, paddlers, um, public safety, the whole gamut. For people that are boaters on the water, we produce flotation and apparel solutions for them. The company is based in Vancouver, Canada, although it has production both in the United States and in Canada and overseas. We have an office in the UK, so we're a global company, and certainly a North American company. And today I am going to be talking about connecting with industry and trade organizations. And this is essentially what I do for my job with Mustang's Survival, because we're quite a large company. And and since we cover so many different areas of boating, commercial, professional, recreational, it's a lot of different industry groups and trade organizations to connect with. And before I came to Mustang Survival, my husband and I owned a small life jacket company in Plymouth, Massachusetts called MTI Adventure Wear, MTI Life Jackets. And we built life jackets for paddle sports. So nearshore boating, SUP, canoe, kayak. So we have definitely been in the trenches as entrepreneurial owners. And in the evolution of our life, we sold our company to Mustang at the beginning of the pandemic. So that's part of our pandemic story. And we enjoy now having our brand folded into a much larger company. So experience on that level. So you have a big idea for a product or service. You've made prototypes, you've tested them, you've mapped out your development plan, investigated protecting your intellectual property. This is your baby. So now what else lies ahead to help bring your big idea to become a reality? So market testing and a validation, that's a fancy word for trying to network to see how your big idea will stick. You know, before my advice would be before diving into a full launch, what you want to do is connect with industry professionals and trade organizations. You know, this will help you fast track the development of your idea, in fact, because if you get feedback from others in the same pool of either product or users, that will help you create a product that speaks to, you know, what the solution you're trying to solve. So how do you start to do that if you're starting from ground zero? Um, so you want to start by researching relevant trade shows and industry conferences, and then make it a priority to attend some of those shows. You might find there's a ton of them in your space. So you want to kind of rate them and try it, you know, because maybe you don't have enough time or money to go to all of them. So try to do research in advance to see which are the best ones, and be prepared to invest your time and your money, you know, because the insights and connections you'll gain will pay off in the long run. So here's an example of a selling show, a trade show. This is Grassroots. It's an outdoor industry show. It's not necessarily boating or water sports, but a lot of the retailers that will attend this event also sell canoes, kayaks, or power boats or fishing. So it sort of bleeds over into the boating space. So this is a show that our company will attend, but it's a selling show. So you can see all these little cubicles are the different brands. You see Chums up there. You might recognize that brand. So everyone has a little booth. Now, this is very straightforward. It's not very glamorous. Some trade shows like Outdoor Retailer are a lot more glamorous in the marketing presentation. Grassroots is a lot more direct with the sales reps, meeting with buyers. So the buyers will schedule a meeting, they'll come into the booth, and you'll meet. This is a selling event, a trade show selling event versus this is NASBLA. So the NASBLA has an annual conference. NASBLA stands for National Association of Boating Law Administrators. So this is across the United States, people who are, patrolling, making sure recreational boaters are safe on the water. They're at the access points for put-ins. So this is law enforcement. These are great partners to have. These are people that have been on the water, devoted their lives, their careers to safety on the water. This is much more of a networking event, not so much a selling event, a networking event. This is me at an event for the Paddle Sports Trade Coalition. So this is an industry group. It's a smaller group. This is an event in Oklahoma City called the Collab. Even the name of it suggests networking. Again, it's not so much a selling event as it is a networking event. It's a smaller group, but I can tell you that compared to the large room of NASBLA of 600 attendees, this is more like 150. But the conversations at the smaller events are sometimes almost more valuable because it's a smaller event. You have a little bit more time to connect. So the value of immersing yourselves in gatherings, events, conferences, trade shows is an opportunity to connect with experienced professionals. These spaces allow you to test your ideas, get feedback, and don't be hesitant to share your ideas. It's number one, it's natural to worry about someone stealing your idea, stealing your concept. But remember, developing a new product or service takes significant time and resources. Most companies are focused on their own product development timelines. So the chances of someone taking your idea are slim, not impossible, but that's where maybe you want to make sure your intellectual property is protected. But one of the things that I find a little tough when I go to a conference, someone comes up to me and goes, "Oh, I've got this great idea for a life jacket or blah, blah, blah." And, well, what? Tell me about it. And they're like, "Well, I can't tell you about it because I'm worried you're going to steal it." It's like, well, then we don't really have something to talk about. So don't be afraid to share. So again, how to start, identify the events and conferences you want to go to. How do I figure that out? What other events do other companies in your field go to? So dig, do Google's research, try to see what other companies that are related to what you're doing, where are they going? Some events may require a trade organization membership. Sometimes this is $75 or sometimes it's $300. I would say if you rank it and make sure it's important, it's often worth the investment, even if it's a bit pricey, because that networking opportunity can be invaluable. And then you're part of the group. So this is that PTC Collab again. You're listening to speakers, you're sitting in the audience, everyone's got a name badge. It kind of identifies who they're with. Canadian Safe Boating Council. This is a symposium. Again, this is not a selling show. This is about coming together, sharing ideas, sitting through a lot of different presentations. And this is an example of some of the events that I will attend for Mustang this year. The boat shows, Canadian State Boating Council, Seaport, which is a conference of professional operators of towing response, like Towboat USA, for example. The U.S. Sailing Leadership Forum. I just got back from that from last week, and my head is just exploding with stuff that happens from that. International Boating Water Safety Summit. That's in a different location every year. This year it's in Phoenix, Arizona. It's coming up. The Life Jacket Association, they have an annual conference. This year it's going to be in Wilmington, Connecticut, or North Carolina. So anyways, each event is unique, offering a fresh networking opportunity at each one. So International Boating, Water, and Safety Summit. So here was from last year. This was one of the seminars on the schedule, product safety compliance from a boater's perspective. And it was great to listen to Dave Marlowe from the Brunswick Corporation. And then afterwards, he's there, he's happy to take questions even after the seminar is open, closed, and, you can go up and you've listened to his presentation, you can ask questions. You're not sure who you're going to meet at some of these events. This gentleman is one of the leaders of the U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary, and a senior person who is really willing to share their experience with others. So before you go to these events, perfect your elevator pitch. Okay. It might be similar to your mission statement or your product promise, but for networking, you want it to be brief, compelling, and clear. So I like to think of it as a Hollywood director giving a short, engaging synopsis of their film, the elevator pitch. If you were stuck in an elevator pitch with someone who might give you money to do your film, that's what that term comes from. And be ready to answer the question, well, tell me about your big idea. Be ready. Don't be afraid to share it. The goal is to learn, network, connect with people who can help you along your entrepreneurial journey. So this is my husband, Gordon, who's head of certification for Mustang Survival. He's showing Doug from the U.S. Coast Guard a brand new life jacket that we have in development. This was from last spring. And these conferences are great opportunities. So commit to attending with an open mind and an open heart. Approach the experience with a mindset of learning. Think of your brain as a sponge. Be ready to absorb new ideas. Or if you're a fisherman, a net. You're going through the water. You're trying to catch as many ideas as possible. Review the seminar schedule in advance. Choose topics that align with your goals. These events are fantastic opportunities to connect with others. So if you're sitting in a seminar, look around you, look at their name badges. You can have conversations with them. Well, what did you think of what he said, or she said? Pay attention to who's in the room. Take note of the name badges. You're later when you have a beer or a coffee, hey, what was your favorite seminar today? Great icebreakers. It's powerful ways to connect with new people and break down barriers. So look at the seminar. I mean, this might be a way of figuring out, do I want to go to this event? Look at the schedule of presentations. And that will tell you if you go through and you say, I'm not interested in any of this stuff, don't go to that event. But if you look at, they often put the schedules online in advance of the event. So you want to build your network. Okay. So when you're meeting folks at these conferences, you ask to connect on LinkedIn, ask for a business card, have a business card ready to exchange. And if you're out of cards, no card, take a photograph of their badge with your cell phone. So I like to set a simple goal for myself at every conference. seminar, trade show, whatever. I want to learn one new thing. And I know that seems like a really small goal, but it's a way to ensure success. Even if I leave feeling, wow, I really disagree with what they said, or well, I hate that. I've gained clarity on my own beliefs, values, and how I want to shape my big idea. So this is the heart of the entrepreneurial spirit: determination, passion, stubbornness, a deep belief in your vision. So don't be afraid to share your ideas or to invest in networking with others in your field. Those connections and lessons are worth it. And these are friends that, 20 years down the line, you'll be grateful to have. So final takeaways: networking, sharing your product, service with others is critical. Being open to feedback and advice, even if it feels intimidating, can provide tremendous value. Do your homework before attending events. Identify the right places to network and be sure to have your elevator pitch prepared and polished for those meaningful conversations. And lastly, follow up on your leads. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you for that excellent presentation, Lily.